You know, he was always a very creative guy and always loved being creative. And now including the dog in that creative process, you know, allows the dog to shine, but also him and our business to shine. I would say that Elvis is definitely one of the partners in the business. He's very well taken care of, and everyone likes having Elvis around. Everybody pitches in, you know, with Elvis. We like having him around. He's a part of the family, so you know, we take care of him, you know, and do whatever needs to be done for him.
You can go into a major department store, an electronics store, whatever it is, and if you want to take something back or you want to get good service, you want to go to your cable company, you bring the dog and it's instant. They come over, they make a big fuss, and they give you anything you want. So is that using the dog in unethical ways or whatever? But I do notice that people will give you better service because you come in with your dog. They love to make a fuss over Elvis. So he's great for returns and exchanges. Even in our office, when we are interviewing people and somebody walks in that door, if they don't make a fuss over the dog or they're a little standoffish, we know that's not the right kind of person. But one thing that always has to happen, there's got to be fresh water for the dog in the morning. The dog has to go out for a walk. Elvis has to go out for a walk in the middle of the day, and he has to have his lunch at about 2:30. Of course, I don't just throw it off. You all have to do that. So, you know, I'll do a lot of that myself, but sometimes I can't do it. So everybody gets sort of an assigned task.
I have the dogs because I do have a real affinity with them. I really like to communicate with them. I enjoy them, and you know, because of that, the dog is giving me so much just by owning them. This guy here, Ty, he's 9 years old now, and he's done a few things for me. He's a protection dog. He's a freestyle dog, and he comes to work with me everywhere.
In a routine, you've worked countless hours on doing something one way, then suddenly the dog will throw in something else. I don't know if that's creativity or the dog is just distracted for a minute, but certainly a lot of moves that I incorporate into my routine are because when I wanted to do A, Allie decided instead to do B, and then I thought, oh, well, that looks okay, so I've incorporated that. Whether she's just being silly or creative, I don't know.
Millie and Tasha have actually started a traveling chef little activity that we do to help Tasha's mother learn how to cook, because she doesn't know how to cook. So anyway, every time I come up here, we go to someone's apartment and we cook dinner for them. So we fix a little dog meal, and then we also fix a meal for the people there too. But we can only cook for 4 people because it stresses Susan out too much to cook for more than that. It's become a big hit. We've got a waiting list now of people who want to be on the traveling chef.
Because Millie writes recipes for dogs.
Yes,
so.
Millie has an recipe site.
She's well known for her cooking.
Yes. A dog recipe. It's dog recipes that she does.
I had to take Mike's death and turn it into helping others. Otherwise, I'd still be sitting on that sofa and crying today. So to celebrate Mike's death, and that sounds it probably doesn't sound very right, but to celebrate all that he gave to me and all of the information that he taught me. And then Friend being born with a B on his bottom, I took that as a sign to redirect my life and to help those that were grieving from pet loss, and to understand that there is another option, that death isn't final, and that reincarnation is real. I checked breeders, and breeders said there's a 5 billion chance that a dog would be born with a B on his bottom that matched your signature. So in my heart, I knew that that was the day that changed my life. And every night when I go to sleep and I look at the little B on his bottom, I know that my journey until the day I die is to help people who feel like they're dying inside because they lost their pet. So I hope you'll give it an option, just a tiny little chance and a tiny little thought, and wonder if you've lost a pet, could they come back? Because they can. Thanks. So along my journey, I've learned lots of things, but the most important thing is to give people hope and to inspire them. And it's not about inspiring them of something they don't believe, it's giving them an option to consider, and their soul will know what's true. So many pet owners come to me and they say, Brent, I just know we're not finished. And they're not. They understand that their pet is a possibility of returning. And they let me know and they say, let's talk about it. And then I teach them how to feel the energy and touch the energy and talk to the pet on the other side and learn that death is not the ending. Sometimes it's just the beginning. And when I told my grandmother I was going to do this, she went, oh, you are? And I went, yes, ma'am, I am. And she sat there for a minute and she looked at me and she said, well, you know, there are going to be a lot of people that'll think you're a little, and I went, yes, ma'am, they probably are. She said, but you know, I'm 101 years old. And I remember when they said tomatoes were poisonous. And I remember when they said a plane would never fly. And I said, Nanny, you're right. I'm going to go forth and I'm going to spread joy and hope and inspiration on those who want to consider. I don't ask you to believe it. I ask you to consider it.
If they are particularly loving and charming, I speak to them in Italian. If they have been more studious, I speak to them in Greek. If they have been a little rough and strong, and I'll speak to them in Turkish. When I want to be very severe with them, I will speak to them in German. But, of course, Italian and French are the languages of love. So we'll speak Italian and French and Greek most of the time.
When I take him out at night, it's not a walk, it's a hunt. And I look at that passion, that drive. He goes absolutely crazy when he knows we're going to take that walk at night to go hunting. Sometimes you wish in your life you had that kind of intense passion for anything, whatever it could be, whether it's a hobby or whatever. It is an amazing quality, and you know, certain people go through life not really ever having having a passion for an activity and a love for doing something as much as you can, and he really does have that passion. So I love that quality in him. So the greater ladies' man is definitely Elvis, because I walk down the street without Elvis, I don't get anybody smiling at me, for sure. I walk down the street with Elvis, they always smile at Elvis. So I would say I'm not the chick magnet, Elvis is the chick magnet.